Welcome to the Do Good Maverick Go podcast, episode number 75. Resources versus resourcefulness. You know, this is when it comes to resources versus resourcefulness. That's kind of a concept that I think the first one that introduced me to it was Tony Robbins in some of his content a bunch of years ago. And it's fascinating, because if you are really resourceful, you can actually have more resources than people that have more resources than you. If you're resourceful enough, you can use the resources you have a lot better, but also you can get access to other people's resources in different win-win ways. I have some notes here. Resources versus resourcefulness. Definition of resources: external assets, tools, or means available to solve problems or achieve goals, e.g., money, time, people, knowledge. And then the definition of resourcefulness: the ability to creatively and effectively use what you have to overcome obstacles and reach goals, even in the absence of abundant resources. Yeah. I don't leave. I think that definition is actually not good enough, because it's not just about creatively and effectively use the resources you have. It's also about using the resources that are available or that can be available, of course, in a moral, legal, good way. And there's also some other notes there. Key difference: resources depend on external availability. Resourcefulness depends on internal mindset and skills. Mindset shift: focus on what you can do rather than what you don't have. Creativity and determination often trump abundance of resources. Examples: if you have a lack of money, you can, for example, leverage skills, or you can do bartering or bootstrapping. And if you have limited knowledge, you can, for example, learn online, network, or experiment. Traits of resourceful people: problem solvers, persistent and adaptable, see challenges as opportunities, use constraints as a catalyst for innovation. That's, of course, not an extensive list, but that's some of it. And the thing is, when it comes to resourcefulness, one of the things that really made a massive change for me was after I read several books by J. Abraham, especially Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got by J. Abraham, and The Sticking Point Solution by J. Abraham, and also the report he has that is called the Abraham Mind Shift Challenge. Those three, and also the book about bartering called No Cash, No Problem by Ali Pervez and Dave Wagenword. Those books really made a tremendous difference for me when it comes to resourcefulness. And J. Abraham is just brilliant. He's an expert business strategist and marketer. And his unique way of looking at problems, the problem with a lot of people is that we are looking at things linearly. Of course, like if this is our goal and we are here, of course, and then we are kind of looking at like, okay, then I need to do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like we are seeing things linearly. And if we cannot do step 3, then I'm stuck. But the way J. Abraham is looking at things is kind of like non-linear way to look at it. He's kind of looking at problems from a 360-degree 3D. It's like he's looking at the problem from a bunch of different angles and really seeing it from multiple different angles. And then he is coming up with creative ways to solve problems. And the way he's doing this in the business world is just mind-boggling. It's like, it's hard to give examples, really. I guess I should have a bunch of the stories that he's listing in his books and read them out there, because it's just mind-boggling, the kind of deals he's able to come up with. And the main thing for me is his mindset and his way of being resourceful. And the thing is, oftentimes, if, for example, in the business world, if you want to do a deal with someone, do you want this, the other party want this, and you're kind of arguing between it. But the way J. Abraham is setting up deals is like he is really looking at what both parties want, and oftentimes he's able to come up with a deal that is way better for both parties than what they initially had in mind. And how can that be possible? Well, if you really look at things from the big picture, instead of just from one angle, and in addition to that, if you have the kind of experience that J. Abraham has, then you can be able to do things like that. And the guy that taught J. Abraham to do bartering deals, one of the main people that taught him about bartering was a guy named Dave Wagenword. He was an expert at bartering. I think he bartered for something like, I think it was close to $1 billion, if not more, when you take into account all the different deals, different bartering deals that he put together. At least it was a lot of millions. I think it was at least a few hundred millions of dollars, but I think it was actually around $1 billion. Anyway, he was an expert at bartering. And when you combine the mindset of bartering with other things, it's fascinating. And not just that he was bartering, but the kind of way that he went about putting the deals together. The thing is, oftentimes we have a lot more resources than we are aware of. It reminds me of how it often is in the movies, when you see different kind of movies and people are maybe in some kind of disaster situation, maybe are lost in the wilderness or whatever it is. But what you often see happening in those movies is that people are kind of going through their backpacks and laying it all out on the ground. What resources do we have? Here we have a map and a compass. We have a few liters of water. We have food for 3 days. We have this and that, and they're kind of spreading it out on the ground to get an overview of the resources that they have available. And it's kind of fascinating to think about, because it's kind of hard to compare it. But if you're not lost in the wilderness, and here in the modern world, when you have access to the internet, and if you have a laptop and a smartphone, and you can speak English, the amount of resources available, if you are really resourceful, is pretty mind-boggling. And of course, I don't mean to diminish any challenges, I don't mean to diminish or look down upon people that have challenges when it comes to resources and finances, because they are real. Almost everything is easier if you have a lot of resources, especially if you have a lot of money and a lot of time. But still, I think it can be of inspiration and also be very actionable for people to try to be resourceful. For example, being resourceful. Let's take an example of making money online. What if you got interviewed on 100 podcasts? What would happen? What if you were selling something online? Maybe you had a paid community of your own that you wanted to promote in a specific niche. What if you found a bunch of podcasts in that niche and you got interviewed on those podcasts? You know, resourcefulness. Maybe you don't have a big podcast with a bunch of listeners yourself, but a lot of other podcasts exist. So what if you could be interviewed on those podcasts? What would happen? After 100 interviews, how many members do you think you would have in your own paid community? Or are there other email list owners, other businesses that you can partner with, that you can get to promote your offer to their audience? Maybe something like that. Or maybe you could contact a bunch of big online marketers or business owners and put together some kind of event. Maybe it could be a paid event that people have to pay to attend, or maybe it could be a free event but people have to opt in with their email address to attend. If you made a deal like that with like 20 different business owners or online marketers, how many people do you think you could get to attend? Maybe a bunch of them. And with just one event like that, who knows how big of an email list or how much profit you can make, you know? So maybe you don't have the resources. Maybe you don't have a big email list. Maybe you don't have a lot of money. Maybe you don't have a big audience. Or maybe you don't have a lot of fans or followers or subscribers online. But maybe you could do some kind of deal with a bunch of other people that have that. And if you get together like 10 or 20 businesses and you get all of them to promote the same event, for example, to their audience, it will be super valuable for those people because they could kind of leverage each other's audience. And you could be the orchestrator, so to speak, the guy putting it all together. And because you put it all together, you could be one of them. So you could also promote your own offer on that event, or you could use the event to build your own email list, stuff like that. It could be a virtual summit or other types of events as well, you know. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm getting my point across here, because it's really hard to explain the massive epiphanies I had, especially after reading those J. Abraham books and that book about bartering. It's just, yeah, fascinating. You might be closer to success than you think, you know. If you don't have the resources, if you don't have the resources yourself, chances are other people have it. And it doesn't have to be an egotistical way where you go begging a rich person to give you money. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be win-win ways, you know. The amount of win-win deals that can be done is just mind-boggling. And J. Abraham has this concept where he talks about it often being the case that your biggest problem is the solution to someone else's even bigger problem. What's an example of that? Maybe you have your own side hustle. You're starting your own paid community, for example, and you want to get members. That's your biggest problem now. You don't have members in your paid community, or you don't have enough members. Yeah, how can that be the solution to someone else's even bigger problem? Well, maybe there's a big email list owner out there that has a lot of subscribers to his email list and a very engaged list with a lot of trust, but he don't have many things to offer his list. He's not promoting offers to his list. Maybe you could do an affiliate deal with that list owner and get him to promote your amazing paid community to his email list. That way he could make a bunch of money from the promotions, and you can get a bunch of members. Maybe that's not the best example, but there's a lot of options like that out there. And especially if you try to see things from multiple different angles. But yeah. When it comes to being resourceful, I'm reminded of one of the guys that I interviewed for community cash cows. I'm in the process of interviewing at least 30 people about their success stories, about building a paid community that is making at least $10,000 in profit per month. It's for my online education and community platform that I call Terrific 30. And I'm making this course and community and book about paid communities. I call it Community Cash Cows. And yeah, one of the guys I interviewed, he basically got the idea for a paid community because I had heard about this paid community platform that he could use. And he was really fascinated about the AI, artificial intelligence. But he wasn't an expert at AI. He didn't know that much about it. He actually got inspired to make this paid community because he just became an uncle. And he was thinking about his nephew or niece. What's it called? Nephew, I think. Yeah. Anyway, he was thinking about this child that was going to be growing up in this modern world with artificial intelligence. It was really fascinating. And then he got to thinking about it and was like, oh, hey, I should know about this myself as well. Hey, maybe I should make a paid community about AI. But he did not know much about AI, and I don't think he had much of an audience either. And I don't think he had that very much capital either. But what did he do? He had a friend that did know a lot about AI. So he almost immediately he called his friend up on the phone and asked him if he wanted to partner with him on this paid community about AI. And his friend was in on it. And I think it was the very next day they launched it. He didn't postpone it or overthink it or overcomplicate it. Pretty much the very next day they launched it. They got a few members. They started with a lower price and gradually increased the price over time. But what he did, he contacted a guy that had an email list of, I forgot how many people it was. I think it was a few tens of thousands of people. But he wasn't making much money from his list. So he contacted the list owner and asked him if he wanted to do a few promotions for their paid community. They was going to have a workshop about AI, and if he promoted the workshop to his email list, he would earn, I think it was 23% of recurring monthly affiliate commissions for all of the sales that were generated through those workshops. And they were running like 2 workshops per week. And after a few weeks, they had they made thousands of dollars per month. And these days, that email list owner is making over $10,000 in profit per month just from those promotions that he made earlier for that paid community. So that email list owner, he was super happy about it, because now finally he was making a lot more money than he used to do. And those guys, those 2 friends these days, they're making about 18,000 euros in profit per month each. And the guy that I interviewed these days, he was working less than 4 hours per week. Pretty fascinating. And you know what one man can do, another man can do. So if you think about it this way, what resources are actually available to you? He made a deal with an affiliate deal with an email list owner. Are there other email list owners out there that you could do an affiliate deal with? Other content creators or influencers or business owners or online marketers, authors, podcasters, bloggers, YouTubers, Instagram influencers, people with a good personal brand? Is it people like that out there that you could do some kind of collaboration or affiliate marketing deal with in order to promote your own paid community? Probably. And if you choose to build your paid community in the right type of niche or category, it might be a lot of deals like that can be done, you know. Oftentimes we are closer to success than we think, you know. Anyway, if you want to check out those real life success stories about paid communities, go check out communitycashcows.com. All right, God bless.